the dark one. And Putin puts out saying that their Jesus is black. Oh, snap. We about to go in. You know, for centuries here in America, there was a big heated debate whether Jesus was white or not. And everybody said Jesus was blue-eyed and, blonde hair and just white. All the pictures depict this. But here we go across the pond to Russia. And I guess they found a vault with the old scripts, the old scriptures. And they have a chocolate complexed Jesus. Oh, y'all better ask somebody. Putin put something out saying in Russian that Jesus was black. The Israelites were black. And I know there's going to be some pissed off people. There's going to be some Jewish people that's going to be pissed off about that. I know it's going to be some Christian folk that's going to be pissed off about what he said. But you know what? I ain't mad at dude for speaking up on it. Sometimes a hurt dog will holler. Sometimes a hurt dog will always holler. Don't matter what you do. You hear yipe, yipe, yipe. But, everybody kind of downplays Russia. They say Russia's this and Russia's that, and they're the big bad boogeyman. But there's something that I wanted to put out on Front Street. During the time of the transatlantic slave trade, England, France, Portuguese, Spain, Dutch. I might be missing a couple of other countries, but they were involved in the transatlantic slave trade. But you never hear anything about the Russians taking part in that. Think about it. Go back to the history and let's think about it. Dutch, where do they populate? South Africa. French populated parts of Africa, south and north and west, I believe. Portuguese, England. But you don't hear about the Russians taking part or partaking in that, which is kind of interesting. I'm like, Now, maybe here they got us a little bit brainwashed thinking that Russia's all bad and this and that, but I don't know. The older you get, the more woke you get, and you see stuff or you read stuff and, you hear this documentary and, watch this documentary about this and that, but I have to give Putin his props for speaking up. And I know there's going to be some people saying, you're not American. I'm just speaking on what I see. You ain't got to like it. It's my opinion. But the bottom line is that there's going to be some people in an uproar.
Didn't expose.
The world know that not only is Jesus black, but most of the people in the Bible. Now, some of you may be saying to yourself, no. Those images are AI images. Well, we got the receipts, biblical and historical. History of Russia, the Voronezh, Arts of Russia, Art Treasures of Russia, Russian icons, Blagoveshensky Sobor, Moskovskogo Kremlya, the icon. So we're going to show you black images in these Russian books and bring them back to the Bible. Black. Who this? Peter and Paul. Focus. Black. Who this? Christ, Moses, Elijah, black. Who this? The prophet Solomon. Focus. Black. No.
Can you guess if one of these foods makes arthritis pain worse? Is it these tomatoes?
Oh, hold on. No. This is in Russia, y'all. Do y'all see this? This is in Russia. Black. The Jews are black. What is this now? Focus. Come on. Adam.
Great tragedies has been that in the last 400 years, Europeans and white Americans have created the whole ideology of white supremacy, and they have, in the process, taken the images, sacred images, as well as secular images that are victorious and positive, and made those images white, and by the same token, they have recast black into a negative image. I think that is a very important thing to keep in mind here. We are interested in corrective historiography, setting the record straight, so that our people, African American people, will begin to sense, I think was pointed out in a very wonderful way earlier, have much in history that has been neglected.
It is not a reach to suggest that the slave who worshipped on Sunday, the Messiah who was Jesus, who was white in all his temporal manifestations as offered to us by Michelangelo and other of the classical artists over the centuries, would be likely to bring the same kind of obsequious deference to the slave master who was white as well. So I think you are here to say, among other things, that inside, there's nothing overt about this, and it's insidious, but it's there, is the notion that somehow white people are to be obeyed, respected, and looked up to by the slave.
Particularly when the white slave master has a whip and a gun to the slave's head. Particularly when this image is presented in such a way that the black has no option. The black cannot believe anything else. It cannot even express anything but the quiet inner pain of seeing the inconsistency between the whole teachings about a God of love, and somehow the Bible is being used to keep them oppressed and feeling negative about themselves. And that is a tradition that we have received in America, and the average white person needs to be instructed on these matters, not just young black kids. The average white person in America is as misinformed and miseducated.
And don't you black people ever forget one thing. The man that helped Jesus carry that cross was a black man. And don't ever forget another thing. Jesus belongs to Africa as much as he does to Europe and Asia. He was born in that part of the world that touches Africa and Asia and Europe, and Jesus was not a white man like me, nor was he as black as some of you. We don't know what the color of his skin, but it must have been a dark color like the people of his day, because he was a man like them. Don't ever say it's a white man's religion or a black man's religion. It's a world religion. He belongs to the world.
How do I say this? The entire Bible is about black people. Not only was Jesus black, but every character in the Bible seems to be black too. Yeah, Zephaniah and Jeremiah and Jebediah, those all aren't white people names, okay? And Jesus wasn't some tan, partially melanated Middle Eastern person either. I'm talking straight up black dude, okay? Even in the book of Revelation, when you get the vision of Daniel, he's describing someone with feet like burnt brass and white woolly hair, and we've got the deep running water voice with the red eyes, and you guys, he's black. The Jewish people are black people, like Kanye was right. And those people yelling at the park dressed in purple about black people being the real Hebrew Israelites, they're right, okay? Like, anytime you see the word Hebrew or Israelite or Jew in the Bible, in your mind you got to replace that with black person. So the whole Bible is going to make a lot more sense to you once you start reading it like that. But you need to let this get settled in your heart now before you get up there. So I mean, they were literally whipping him on his way to get crucified, you guys. Crucifixion was a punishment like for slaves back then, and gladiators, and all the gladiators were black too. Did you know that? Like, you guys, he was sold for 30 pieces of silver. That was the maximum amount of money that a slave could be sold for. Oh, just coincidence? Above above his cross, it says INRI. They were like mocking him. They were saying it says this is the king of the Jews. They're saying like, here's the king of the black people. Look what we did to him. Why does the KKK burn crosses, you guys? The racist KKK. It's just black people, rejoice. You are God's chosen people. Like, I mean, those are some big shoes to fill, but be honored. Like, feel good about that. Like, how cool.
You have to be an exemplary type of stupid to believe that Jesus of Nazareth, Christ the King, was a black African Nubian man, a sub-Saharan African man. Let's go back to 10,000 BCE. Anatolian farmer DNA. Here's the modern distribution, but Anatolian farmer DNA is coming from Anatolia here, but it was also in the Levant. If you're completely lacking any anthropological evidence or genetic research, and you just go on dogma from the internet, then sure, you could claim that anybody at all times was black. All of these white people in history were black. Arab people and Persian people were black. The Neo-Assyrians were black. The Hittites were black. But they weren't. Nazarene was Galilean and spoke Aramaic. Here's a person who speaks Aramaic. Does this person look sub-Saharan African to you? This is Thutmose III, the ruler of Egypt who helped conquer the Levant. His lineage, including the Amenhoteps and then Akhenaten, do not look sub-Saharan African. They are not related to the Western Africans who make up most of America's African-American population. The Egyptian people are related to the people who ruled Egypt. There are also some European rulers, but that's not here nor there. All those icons that Putin is revealing would be more accurate if they were all portraying Romans. It would be more likely that Christ would see a bunch of Romans in his lifetime than he would see a bunch of West African people that look like modern African Americans. It wouldn't make sense, seeing as the Levant was consistently populated by European people and people who resembled like Egyptian and Middle Eastern people.
What's going on, y'all? So Vladimir Putin, he was at a press conference and whatnot, and he released a bunch of images of a bunch of black biblical people, even a black Jesus. So let me get y'all's thoughts on it. It's tripping about the video that I'm posting, but just look at this picture right here. And look at this one. Let's see, you see the nose, it has a big nose. So, you know, I'm not being racist, man. I'm just saying, man, you know, I'm just talking about features. And then, I mean, you see that one looks kind of like European style, I'm not gonna lie. And then this one right here looks like it is Jesus right here. And I don't know. Now, obviously, I can't give you a for sure answer and tell you, oh, yes, this is Jesus, yada, yada, yada. But one thing that I can say is, as a Muslim, we believe that Moses was a black man. And Jesus, we believe Jesus was a black man too. I mean, when you look at, even when you read certain Bible verses, when it talks about the feet of Jesus Christ were bronze, what does that tell you? So me personally, I have no idea where the hell this person came from. This is not Jesus. This is just a white man with a beard. And one thing I love about Islam is that there's no images of anybody. You don't go and make images of prophets. You don't go and make images of Muhammad. You don't go and make images of Jesus, and you don't make images of nobody. Because if you do that, we're having the same problem we're having right now. Even a painting can't 100% accurately predict what, or even tell future generations this is what that person looked like. Even though the paintings might be detailed, this isn't exactly what the person looked like. So my whole thing is, I've always known that Jesus was colored. I always knew Moses was colored. I mean, the whole message of Jesus was destroyed by Paul when he told the Jews not to obey the Old Testament no more. But Jesus said to obey the Old Testament laws. And whoever tells you not to, they're an enemy.
I mean, guys, so that is the compilation of our research. That is what we came up with. I don't know what your thought on this is, but we'd really like to know, and we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, because, you know, growing up, we were made to believe that black was evil and white was associated with good, White was associated with the angels from heaven. Even white was associated with God. White was associated with Jesus. You know, the devil was always black. Yes, the devil was always black. In movies, growing up here in Africa, growing up watching America.
Since 1979, KEH has aimed to make great gear accessible to all. That's why we stock over 50,000
American movies. So this is where you have to remember